Okay. All right. We are going to talk about crystals and essential oils to balance in this energy shift. And I'm going to just briefly go through some of the stuff that is happening because it was about this time last year. It was like last fall that I told one of my communities that the summer of 2025 was going to be explosive and September was going to be particularly explosive. And sure enough, it has been. So, anyway, for all of you who are here live, welcome. It's good to see you all, and I think I got some names here that I haven't seen in a while or haven't seen at all. So, welcome. So, all right. My name's Allie. I do a lot of things. I do a lot of things. I'm an attorney with a practical spiritual wellness business for people and pets. And that's the shortest explanation I can describe. Otherwise, we're going to have to sit with a bottle of wine while I tell you everything that I do. So, all right, let's dive into this. Because before I can get to crystals and oils to help you stay balanced during the energy shift, I gotta give you a little snapshot. This honestly would take me about 12 hours to fully explain, at least 12 hours to fully explain. So I'm just going to give you a little snapshot. But what I would like to know for those of you who are here in the chat, if you can pick one emotion, how are you feeling right now? How are you feeling right now? What is it today? September 10th, 2025. How are you feeling? Very sad. All right. The rest of you, neutral, neutral, overwhelmed. Yep. Sad. Yeah. Sad. Unsettled. Yeah. Unsettled. Yeah. Frustrated. Overwhelmed. Yeah. Very tired. Yes. I know. This has been this year has been like the longest century ever, ever. Like it is just never ending. So, all right. So, and I know some of you have come to some of my past energy shift classes that I've had, and I typically host them in May and November. And, so you know that there's a lot of different energies converging right now that are creating this energy shift. What it is we are upgrading. I mean, if somebody were to say, Allie, you have one sentence to describe the energy shift, humans are upgrading. And right now you may be thinking, oh, Allie, we are failing. We're getting a failing grade on that. I want to read you something. Literally just saw this on TikTok, and I had to save it because I'm like, "Ooh, I got to tell you all about it." And this is what it said. It said, "Remember, the darkness screams loudest before it dissolves. What you are witnessing is a death rattle." I want you to remember that as I talk about what's happening. Okay? What we are witnessing is a death rattle. So the human species has gone through many evolutions and many upgrades. I mean, who we are right now, like even physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, is not what the human being was even 100 years ago, let alone 1,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago. And right now, it probably feels like we are in that hormonal growth spurt that we all went through in junior high and middle school, where everyone was miserable, including our parents having to suffer through it. But this upgrade is causing not all, but many people to shift what they do, like what their career is, how they're spending their time, what they think, what they believe, like they're questioning, they're researching, they're changing their minds, they're opening their minds, they're looking at things. And everything is energy, including the energy of our ancestral line. And when we think back to our ancestral line, depending on what line it is, there could have been some really oppressive things happening, controlling things happening, um, downright dark, icky, horrible things happening, and it's bubbling up to clear through us. And so we can feel stuff, and it's like, why am I feeling this? And it literally could be that. We also have karmic loops that are playing out to give us an opportunity to clear an energy once and for all. Because if we get into an energy of, and I'll just give the example of, we are in the process of clearing the karmic energy of war because humans have been at war against each other since the beginning of time. And when you really think about it, it's actually pretty horrible, especially based on what happened today. It's pretty horrible that humans are the most violent, destructive creatures that roam the earth. They kill each other and they destroy the earth. Whereas in the animal kingdom, animal species, they preserve the earth so that they can keep evolving and they preserve their tribe. Humans got somehow left out of that. I don't know why. But there has been a big enough shift in people that we don't want that anymore. So the last remnants are bubbling up to release. And like what I just read, remember the darkness screams loudest before it dissolves. What you are witnessing is a death rattle, not the dawn of a permanent situation. Okay, so that's just an example. So it gets shoved in our face, but it's trying to dissolve. The veil of illusion is also lifted. I mean, I can tell you right now, it's fully lifted. A couple of years ago, I would talk about how, oh, it's in the process. We get a little lifting and then it covers, and oh, it is fully lifted. And so we are seeing things, what I affectionately nickname the triple C: corruption, criminality, and cruelty. And when the veil lifts and you see things that are corruption, criminality, cruelty, it shocks most people. I think my shock value was literally hazed out of me, not only in law school, but being a prosecutor. Like nothing shocks me anymore. Like I'm so numb to shock. But I fully recognize that a lot of what is happening is just truly shocking to people. And then we have the old energy structures of control that are literally collapsing before our eyes that have kept humans in survival mode. Nobody wants to live in survival mode. We want to thrive. As human beings, we should thrive. We should want to thrive. And so a lot of this is being unveiled. And so with this happening, oh, I love this. I don't even know who I got this from on the internet, but I love where this quote. You might not realize it yet, but you're the first woman in your maternal line to travel, to choose for herself, to walk freely and shape her own destiny. This is how generations begin to heal. Yeah, I don't know if you can relate to that. I certainly can. Like I think back to my grandmother, even my mom, and it's like, wow, I am polar opposite of them. That's upgrade. That's evolution. That's evolution that is happening. So we are energy beings. We are literally energy beings made up of water and minerals. That's what a human being is. We are 70% water. We are fully made up of minerals. Everything is energy. And when I dive into my quantum physics and I read that we are 99.999999979% empty space, which is energy frequency. And the rest is solid matter, which is I can't even begin to speculate on how many hundreds, thousands, millions, trillions of solid matter we are. So we are energy beings made of water and minerals. And the structure of water can easily be changed with frequencies like radio frequency, microwave frequency, Wi-Fi frequency, other people's energy, their frequency, with words and even with thoughts. And Dr. Emoto and his water experiments, and the books that he wrote and all the research studies he did, he proved this. We are fluid. We are fluid. Okay. Which is why how you're feeling right now is probably different than how you felt when you woke up this morning. You're fluid. Okay. Literally. So we fluctuate based on all the things around us. So let me talk about, and I'm just going to go through this briefly because believe me, I could dive into this. I could take you down a rabbit hole of scientific information. One thing that is fluctuating around us that influences us as a water mineral energy being is the Earth's frequency. The Schumann resonance is raising. Gone are the days of the 7.83 hertz of the Earth's frequency. We live on Earth as it flies through space. We're literally on a crystal, flying through space. And her frequency is raising. A couple hours ago, I pulled the graph for all of 2025. Holy moly. When I look at basically the last 9 months, it's very, very obvious. And I have been tracking this for about 12 years. I've been tracking the Schumann resonance. So we are well into a base frequency, I would say 20 hertz as just a base. But we are fluctuating as high as 50, 60, 80, 100, 120 hertz on some days. So, yeah. You think that impacts water? Yeah, because it's like taking your glass of water and shaking it. We're all shaking because the earth is raising her frequency and taking us for the ride. Some people can't handle it. Some people have symptoms. Some people have no clue what's happening. We are also in solar maximum. So the sun goes through 11-year solar cycles. We are in the heat of the center of solar cycle 25. So I pulled these graphs because I just think they're so fascinating to show what it looks like when you have a solar cycle. So you can see that we have ebbs and flows, it goes down, it disappears, um, almost to nothing, and then it spikes. We are in the spike. And the height of the solar flare activity, and here's solar cycle 25 that we're in right now. What happens is we get a lot more solar flares, and a solar flare is really highly reactive plasma. And if it is shooting towards the Earth, we're getting hit. Like it'll take out power grids. It takes out internet. There's a reason that planes fly in unusual patterns. They don't fly in a straight line. And a lot of times planes are grounded because of solar flares, because it's going to mess with all the equipment. So we've been in the height of solar flare activity. Really, the height of it has been June, July, and August, but we don't go back to solar minimum until 2030. So we are really in the height of all this plasmic activity, which bubbles up a lot of anger. It's hot. It's hot. It's like a burst. Bam! It's an explosion. Okay, what happens when there are explosions? People get angry, people get fearful. Okay, it really bubbles up a lot of emotions. We have that going on. We have all these planetary influences. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these individually because that would take me about an hour to do all of that. You can research this on your own. But knowing that everything is energy, when there is a movement anywhere, that energy wave just goes. It it just goes, it doesn't stop because energy is neither created nor destroyed. It just changes. So, I know some people think astrology is a bunch of woo-woo and there's no validation behind it. Well, when planets move, it creates a wave. It's like if you were to take one of your crystals and throw it in a pond, it creates a wave, right? When planets move, they create a wave. And I mean, there's actually a lot of very precise science about astrology. But the short story that I want to share is that this year, five of what's called the outer planets that really impact society more than the closer planets that impact us personally. These five outer planets all moved into new zodiac signs. And some of these planets move like every 17 years or every 24 years. We had five. Okay, that is a perfect storm because when they move into a new sign, that is beginnings, which means something has to end in order to start a new beginning. If you're reading a book, okay, you end one book and then you start the next one. So you have to have an ending in order to have a beginning. So a lot of endings, a lot of collapsing, a lot of releasing of old energies. And then right now we have five planets in retrograde, which means it looks like they're going backward in the sky. They're not. They're not. But based on our position and the position of the planet, it almost looks a little standstill or like it's going a little bit backward. But what it does, because of this almost lack of movement, it puts us in a position where we need to settle down and reassess something. Like it's hard to review and reflect and reassess when you're the Energizer Bunny going all day long and you're super busy. Retrograde tells us to stop, to sit down, sit your butt down. Stop running around so much. Stop filling your calendar with stuff. I literally sat next to a lady yesterday in a networking meeting, and when she pulled up her calendar, I almost physically got sick. 12 hours a day, she has every minute of her life planned. And I just looked at her and I said, "Oh, sweetie, I need to help you put some white space in your calendar." That's not living. That's not living. My response to her was five planets in retrograde speaking through me. Okay, so we're in this basically the height of 2025 retrograde season to really reevaluate a lot of different stuff. And the planet and the zodiac sign tell you what is being focused on. But we also are in eclipse season. 3 days ago, we just had a lunar eclipse at the full moon. Eclipses highlight everything that needs to be looked at, that needs to be addressed. We're going to have a solar eclipse coming up on the 21st. Eclipses, like a solar eclipse, is like a lightning rod. It is a shakeup. It is a shakeup. So the lunar eclipse is like, I'm giving you a preview. This is what you need to look at. And if you are keeping your calendar too busy and you're not looking at it, I'm going to shake it up at the solar eclipse. I'm going to rock your world. And that's what eclipses do. That's what eclipses do. Our ancestors lived their lives They moved their tribes, they planted their crops and had ceremonies based on moon cycles and eclipse cycles. Okay. So these things absolutely have an influence on us. I mean, do you have trouble sleeping at a full moon? Like you're just kind of energized, and it's like, okay, I need to bathe myself in frankincense and put a whole bunch of black tourmaline under my bed. Yeah, and you're in your house and you're feeling it. Because we are water and minerals, that is almost just all energy. Very, very little solid matter. Okay? We are highly influenced by this. Now, when emotions start bubbling up in us, I will tell you without a doubt, without exception, they will turn physical. It can turn physical within a matter of seconds, or it can take decades. But emotions that are not properly dealt with will turn physical. Absolutely, no doubt. This is just the way our body is built and how emotions in our body relate to each other. So you're going to have the recording of this. And if you want to screenshot it, you're welcome to. But as we upgrade, certain emotions are getting our attention. And if we are not paying attention, if we are too busy, if we are too busy scrolling social media or working a dead end job or fighting with the people in our lives or ignoring what we know we need to do, it will get your attention physically. So if you are dealing with any of these issues, whether it's emotional or physical, this is important to know. This is really important to know because it actually tells you as part of the upgrade, this is old energy. So you're going to have a hard time keeping up with the Earth's frequency. So you got to focus on it. You have to focus on it and do your best to get it resolved because when you start working with frequency, like essential oils and crystals, that's when transformation can happen. Okay, so I wanted to share that. But what is happening is I'm just calling it now the energy push because the shift is pushing us to evolve because the rate that humans are going right now, we will be extinct in the not so far future. The way that the human race is behaving, we will either destroy ourselves or we will destroy the planet, but either way, there is destruction. And so we are being pushed really hard right now. And like the example I gave before about the karmic loop of war, humans have been at war with each other since the beginning of time. There has not been a day on this planet that there hasn't been an active war. And I think a lot of people are sick of it. You know, the suppression of women and minority groups is resolving, it's bubbling up because no one is immune from being targeted. And I want to read this quote again. I tell you, I need to message this person who put this on TikTok. Darkness screams loudest before it dissolves. What you are witnessing is a death rattle. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing the death rattle. The three C's, the exposure of corruption, cruelty, criminality is bubbling up because people are sick of it. The veil has been lifted. People see and say, well, that's not okay. This is not okay. I'm a good person. You know, I treat my neighbors kindly. I don't break any laws. I pay my taxes. I I'm a good person. I do good work. I take care of people, and people are fed up. And this is a part of the shift. This is part of the shift. And what's happening is it's creating an influx of the divine feminine, which is simply empowerment. Like a man can embody the divine feminine. We all have feminine and masculine energies in us. The divine feminine is all about compassion, empowerment, independence, strength, and healing. That's the divine feminine. And what's interesting, it's creating what's called the male loneliness epidemic. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, it's all over TikTok, where these men are just complaining that women don't want to date them. There is a massive movement with women that don't. What was that? I just heard the cats did something. They, they crashed something. I'll figure it out later. Anyway, there is this massive movement of women saying, I'm not going to date a man anymore because I'm not his mom, I'm not his coach, I'm not his counselor, I'm not his priest, I'm not his therapist. Like I'm done. I'm done. And it's really massive and it's actually been called in the psychological community the male loneliness epidemic. And they're blaming it on the rise of the divine feminine. But when you heal and you are empowered in your life, it can be very threatening. It can come off very threatening, like, what, you don't need me anymore? No, not really. I enjoy having you in my life, but I do not need you to fix the door that's fallen off the hinge because I just get on YouTube and Google it and it's like, oh, that's how I put it back on and I do it myself. So it's just interesting to watch this play out. But what is shifting are a small percentage of people who have done the inner work. They've done the shadow work. They've looked at their trauma. They looked at their grief. They've released old, outdated belief systems. They are empowered. They are healing themselves. They're raising their frequency by opening up their mind to learn and to explore. And all of that happened over a few decades, which in the grand scheme of the human experience is not a long time. Um, I mean, the whole 14 and a half years that I've had my business, this has been happening and I've been tracking it. But now it's culminated in enough people who have raised their frequency. They are working with the earth. As the earth raises the frequency, they raise their frequency. They are riding that roller coaster. And there are enough that the seesaw has tilted so that people who haven't done the work, like they don't even know what we're talking about here tonight. They're like, what? What are you talking about? They see it. They see what's happening. They don't understand it. They don't know what to do. They don't have the tools. They don't have the techniques, but they see it. So if you haven't read the book called The Map of Consciousness, I highly recommend by David Hawkins. That is my new go-to book. In that book, he talks about how it only takes a very small percentage of people vibrating at higher levels of consciousness to shift the masses. Like one person vibrating at the level of love, not human ego love, true soul level, unconditional. I don't care about your gender. I don't care about the color of your skin. I don't care about your religion. I don't care about your politics. I don't care about your beliefs. That kind of unconditional love. One person can shift like, I should have written it down, but it's something like 70 million people operating at fear. One person. So that's why in this energy shift, we don't need a majority. We don't need 50.1% to shift. We need something like 1.7%. It's a small number. And part of this energy push is helping us realize that our inner world plays out in our outer world. And you may hear that and think, well, crap, I don't like that. Well, here's the thing, it should be empowering to help you understand that you are in total control. If you don't like what you see in your outer world, you change your inner world. and you will align with the frequency to see what you want to see. There are many different frequencies on this planet. You do not have to align with stuff that you don't want to encounter. That's part of the energy push. And the more energetic and spiritual work that you're doing, the more you are going to feel it and you're going to see it. So I love to talk about how to look at things energetically, which means you're not looking from ego, you're not looking from your beliefs, you are not emotionally triggered by what is happening. And instead, it's like you're in an airplane looking out a window and you just see everything. You see all the people, you see all the people, you see all the things. And because you are looking out a window at an elevated perspective, you can see what people on the ground can't see. If you're looking at things from ego, from beliefs, and from emotional triggers, you are on the ground and you can't see. You literally can only see what's in front of you, which is probably uncomfortable. And it's triggering your ego, it's triggering your beliefs, it's triggering your emotions. But when you look at things energetically from a soul perspective, from an objective perspective, you see everything. And then you start getting curious, like, huh, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Let me look at this energetically from a soul level. And this elevated view, when you are able to do this, and it does take practice, but once you are able to do it, you're just going to do it all the time. I do it all the time now. But it can still cause stress. It can still cause moments of hopelessness and helplessness and overwhelm and fear and anger because you can see and it's like, oh, I don't like what I see, even from an elevated perspective. Like, so you can still feel that. You know, the energy shift is not meant to be all daisies, tulips, kittens, and puppies. That's not what it is. This is like that middle school growth spurt over the summer where everybody's super hormonal and rude and mean and just feels icky and crappy. That's what it is. It's not meant to be light and fluffy. So this is why I love talking about oils and crystals because they are frequency tools. We are frequency. That's it. We are frequency made up of water and minerals. So when we start working with frequency tools, it helps us to upgrade. It helps us with this elevated, evolving place that we're going to. Now one thing, and I'm going to give you a little test that you can use to figure this out. The energies are really pushing us to stop copying other people. Okay? This is why you really need to learn how to use essential oils and crystals uniquely for you because your frequency is different than the next person's frequency. And how an essential oil or a crystal relates to you is going to be different than how it relates to somebody else. So I'm gonna share with you how I select oils and crystals because it is never about what anybody else says. I have gotten to the point that I can't follow essential oil people. I can't follow crystal people on social media. I can't follow any energy workers on social media. About the only spiritual people that I follow are astrologers. Because while I've studied astrology for 40 years, they have better credentials than I do. But the others, I can't because how they talk about oils and crystals and energy work is right for them. And it's very off-putting to me. It's like, nope, that's not my experience. I have a different experience. And I want you all to embrace that. I want you to embrace that because intuition is the new currency in the energy shift. That is the new currency. Everybody's out there talking about crypto and Bitcoin. No, sorry, it's intuition is your new currency. We all have it. Most people dismiss it, they distrust it, they question it, they don't follow it, and so it goes dormant, but it's there. Okay, so if you want to dive deeper, for those of you who haven't taken my crystal classes, they are coming up. They are coming up. So, okay, here's what I do. Here's what I do. Because I was bucking the system 14 years ago when somebody said rose quartz is a heart healer. And I'm like, says who? Says who? I explained that in my basic class, why it is, but I didn't buy it. And I don't buy into it. I have all the crystal books. I read them and I question a lot of it. It's like, y'all just saying the same thing. Here's how you intuitively select an oil or a crystal. You have to start with an emotion that you're feeling that needs balancing, or maybe it's something physical, like you have a stomach ache or lower back pain. Lower back pain is fear. Okay. So you gotta focus on an emotion or a physical sensation that needs balancing, and you work with one at a time. You are not rattling off, well, I'm angry, I'm rageful, I'm afraid, I'm worried. No, 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 no. This is not the time to regurgitate your diary, okay? Pick one emotion at a time. Then you are going to go to your crystal selection, however big or small it is. And you're going to go to your essential oil collection, however big or small it is. And you're going to pick the one that gets your attention. That's what you're going to do, the one that catches your eye. And then you're going to body test. Okay? How you body test. You stand straight up, your feet are hip width apart. You're going to want to make sure that your yes and no are the way that they are for most people. If you're using a pendulum, everybody's pendulum tests differently. Okay, there is no standard yes or no. But for the body, I'm finding 99.9% of people, when their body is saying yes and embracing something that they want, the body leans forward, like you are literally leaning forward to give it a hug. And when your body leans back a little bit, you're being repelled. Like, no, this is not for you. So you stand with your feet hip width apart, you hold the oil and ask, is this what I need? You have to ask your yes or no question. Is this what I need? And you're either going to lean forward or you're going to lean back. And if you lean back and it's a no, go to the next oil or the next crystal that catches your eye. Okay? Once you find one oil and one crystal, then you have to figure out, where am I feeling where am I feeling this physically? Even if it's an emotion, where do I feel it? Where am I feeling worry? Is it up here in my head? Is it in my chest? Is it in my heart? Is it in my stomach? Is it in my lower back? Where are you feeling it? And then you're going to put the oil there and you're going to put the crystal on that area. Whenever you are working with frequency, you just cannot be, blanked out in your brain. You have to tell your frequency tool what to do. So you're going to visualize. You don't have to talk. You just visualize. I'm releasing worry. I'm releasing anger. I'm releasing stress. And I am drawing in whatever the antidote is. What's the opposite of what you're doing? What's the opposite of anger? It's ease. That's the opposite of anger. You are at ease. It could also be forgiveness, could be the opposite. So this is what I do. Okay. So I would really recommend giving this a try. Now, I am going to share oils and crystals that I generally, not always, but generally go to for specific emotions. And like I've just described, this works for me. This may not work for you. Okay, a lot of us are in Young Living with oils, and just because an oil is labeled joy, I know a lot of people where that oil turns them off and it repels them and it does not bring them joy. Okay, so just because an oil has a label doesn't mean that that's what it's going to do for you. I know people, instead of being calmed down by lavender, it ramps them up. And they actually end up with high level anxiety. They are just so like ramped up. So we all respond differently because we're frequency. We're frequency. Okay. And the same thing goes for crystals. I could tell you that, oh, black tourmaline is super grounding, super calming. And for you, it could send your mind down a rabbit hole like a nightmare. You got to figure out how these work for you. All right. So let me go through not all emotions, but some of the more common ones that you may be feeling at this time. All right. Anger and resentment, there's a fine line between them. Anger is very like almost new, it's explosive, whereas resentment has been stewing for a while. Like men get angry, but women get resentful. Okay. So I go for very cooling oils and cooling crystals because the antidote to anger is to calm it down, is to cool it. I want to get into ease, surrender, maybe forgiveness. Okay. And the crystals that I like to work with are blue or purple because they're cool. They're actually cold to the touch, amethyst and celestite. So I'm giving you basically two single oils, two blends, and two crystals, okay? Because I could give you like 50 for each of these, and that would be too overwhelming and contrary to what I'm hoping to do for you tonight. And when you have anger bubble up or resentment bubble up, it's really important to just keep telling yourself, I am not responsible for other people. I am only responsible for myself. I am not responsible for how other people react. I am not responsible for other people's words, their thoughts, their beliefs, their actions. I am not responsible. Not my circus, not my monkeys. I am not responsible. I am only responsible for myself. I take care of this, and everything is fine in my world. When you are imposing control or judgment on other people, that's when you get angry and that's when you get resentful. So, this is your antidote to control. That's your antidote, okay? Cooling. So, German chamomile, lavender, the forgiveness blend, surrender blend, amethyst, and celestite. All right, for anxiety and overwhelm, very, very fine line between anxiety and overwhelm. Okay. These are your thoughts running out of control. Okay. Running out of control. You are not controlling your thoughts. You are not controlling your mindset. You do not have the dominion over your mind. And that usually comes from not having a meditation practice. People who can meditate, bam, they start going down a rabbit hole, bam, they stop it immediately because they're able to control their thoughts and redirect them. Okay. So the antidote to anxiety and overwhelm is inner peace. Inner peace happens during meditation. Having that dominion over your mind. When your mind is just running, it is going down every possible scenario of tragedy, worst case scenario, worst outcome. You are not in control. You are not in control of your life at that point. And then you feel the anxiety and then you feel overwhelmed. This is when I go for blue tansy. It's very cooling, but I also go for orange. Orange is a tremendous sedative for the mind. I also like the Release blend and I like Valor blend. Now, for crystals, I like Euphorolite and Numite. Okay, these are really tremendous crystals. And again, you're going to go back to that test. Where am I feeling it in my body? Is the overwhelm, you know, in your head? You're going to stick it on your third eye or your crown. Is the anxiety in your heart or is it in your stomach? You're going to put the oil there, you're going to put the crystal there. And you're at least going to lay in this for 5 to 10 minutes, at least 5 to 10 minutes, and just keep telling yourself, I am safe. I am in control. I am safe. I am in control of my response. I am safe. I am in control. Okay. So you are letting your frequency partners in the oils and the crystals know what you want by saying, I'm safe and I'm in control. And the oils and the crystals, being frequency regulators, are like, okie dokie. All right, that's what you want. That's what you get. Okay. Now, for depression, depression is I'm sorry, is unresolved anger. That's what depression is. It's unresolved anger. Not knowing how to properly release anger the moment that you get angry, and it just festers. It goes into resentment. And then if resentment is not released at some point, it goes into depression. And the antidote is getting angry and then just finding gratitude. Okay. So I like to work with frankincense and orange oil. I like the gratitude blend and I like Rise Above. Rise Above is a very high frequency blend. So it's like you're in the airplane and you're looking at everything and it's like, oh, I'm down here on the ground looking at what's in front of me and that's like I'm super depressed over that. But if I get an elevated perspective and look, it's like, oh, no, I'm good. I'm good. So crystals I like are lepidolite and smoky quartz. I think those are really good. And again, you have to figure out where in your body are you feeling the depression? Where are you feeling it? I know some people who say the bottom of their feet because they're like, I literally cannot take any steps in my life. Great. Put the oils on the bottom of your feet, put the crystals on the bottom of your feet. Some people feel depression in their throat. They're not talking. And that anger just keeps suppressing and suppressing and suppressing. So you put the oil there and you put the crystal there. So you have to figure out where you're feeling it. All of this is a tremendous exercise for your intuition. Okay. You, if you do this, your intuition will really start to fire on all cylinders. All right, let's go to distrust, which is basically dormant intuition. Distrust is hypervigilance born out of confusion because you're not intuitive. Well, you are intuitive, but you're not trusting it. You're not listening to it. You're not taking action on it. So you're hypervigilant because you're confused and you're not discerning truth. And so you question everything and then you just don't do anything. And you end up distrusting everything. The antidote is to work on your intuition. Understand which intuitive strength is your best. Are you clairvoyant? You can see. Clairaudient? You can hear. Are you clairsentient? You sense by feeling. Are you claircognizance? You just know. What's your strength? When you work on this, you're going to know your strength, but I can tell you, you have all four of these. One of them is stronger than the others. But if you ignore it, if you second guess it, if you question it, and if you don't take the action based on what it tells you, when it tells you, it will go dormant. It's going to say, well, you know what? Allie's not listening to me, so let's stop. And that's what happens. And then you start to distrust because you start making bad decisions from the ego. So, what I like to work with is bergamot because it really gets things flowing, and sandalwood. Sandalwood is a tremendous intuitive oil. The Awaken Blend and White Angelica are also fantastic. For crystals, I like apophyllite and azurite. Okay, so when you're working with your oils and your crystals, just keep saying, I trust my inner knowing and I take action. Because here's the thing about intuition, if you get an intuitive idea, an intuitive thought, or an intuitive message, and you don't do anything with it, what's the point? It came to you in that moment for you to do something. And it could be something like, don't drive down this street. If you ignore it and go down that street, you may figure out why your intuition was telling you to not do that. Or if you get an idea of something to create, but you're like, well, I don't have time right now. I'll put it off until I have vacation. I can guarantee you that inspiration will not be there. It'll be gone by the time you make time for it. It came to you in the moment for a reason. Work with these oils, work with these crystals to help trust that even when you have an intuitive message come through and it seems crazy, like, oh my gosh, everybody's going to think I'm crazy. When you follow your intuition, it is 100% right 100% of the time. Okay, so I trust my inner knowing and I take action. If you're struggling with fear and worry, fear is the false expectation of something that you think is going to happen in the future. It's not happening right now, but you think you're catastrophizing something that it's going to happen in the future. Oh my gosh, I'm a born worrier. I just worry all the time. You're literally terrorizing yourself. It's internal terrorism. Nothing comes out of worrying. My mom was a worrier, and boy, did I get all over her. I'm like, what are you worrying for? Like, literally, you're going to make something happen? That freaks me out, especially when I'm in an airplane and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to worry the whole time. I'm like, mother, stop it. Like, stop. Fear and worry destroy you from the inside out. Okay, my favorite oils to really combat fear and worry are neroli and palmarosa. Palmarosa is such an unspoken of oil, and it is absolutely one of my favorites. Neroli and palmarosa just really cut that worry loop, that fear loop, because we all have it. You just don't want to let it go too long. You don't want to let it run. The abundance blend, a lot of people think, oh, that's for money. No, no, abundance is a frequency. And when you are in an abundant frequency, you're not in fear. You're in optimism, looking forward to good things, drawing in good things. That's the opposite of fear and worry. So that's why the abundance oil is really good, as is present time, because when you live in the present, you're not worried about the future. Okay. I like black tourmaline. It's just very grounding to just basically get you to just calm down and stop focusing on it. And I like labradorite because it has the great grounding feature. But when you look at the fractures that are in labradorite, they give you the beautiful colors like the pink, the orange, the greens, the blues, the yellows. And you just flash it and just stare at it, takes you into a whole different world, and you are no longer fearful or worried. That is a great crystal to work with. And just keep telling yourself and tell the oils and tell the crystals what you want. Tell them, my thoughts are creating problems where there may be none. All is well in this moment, and it always works out. It always works out is my favorite to use. It always works out because it always does. Yeah, there may be bumps and bruises along the way, but it always works out. It always works out. I'm not going to let my thoughts create problems where there may not be any. All is well in this moment, right now, right here for all of us. Right now, all is well. because we're together and we're talking about oils and crystals. So no fear, no worry. That's how that works. All right, two more. Let's talk about grief. Grief, everyone I am convinced on this planet is grieving. Everyone. We're all grieving different things. It could be the loss of a loved one, whether it's a person or a pet, whether it's a spouse, a child, a parent, a sibling, a friend. It could be the loss of a lifestyle, a loss of a job, a loss of income, a loss of health, a loss of a future that you had wanted, um, loss of the past. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I really miss 1985." It's like, well, okay, it's gone. You have your memories, but it creates a lot of grief. And what it is, grief is heartache and clinging to what was or what could have been. And you just stay in that. You're clinging to what was or what could have been, and you're not living. So the antidote is gratitude. Gratitude for what you had or what you have now. It's shifting it. Instead of being so focused in the past, it's really being present. So I like frankincense. Frankincense and rose are probably the two of my favorites for grief. Grief settles in the lungs. Anybody who has lung and respiratory issues, have them breathe those oils. It could be grief. It could be grief. I also like breathe again because when you put eucalyptus, like especially a peppermint eucalyptus blend together, that is powerful for grief. So I like breathe again and then hope because we just need to breathe in hope. And then rose quartz and thulite. Oh my gosh, thulite is my number one grief crystal. These are just my antidotes. And just keep telling yourself, I am doing my best every day. I am worthy to live my life. And my loved ones would want that, especially if you have some survivor guilt. Okay. So I'm doing my best every day. I am worthy to live my life. My loved ones would want that. And then last but not least, feeling hopeless or feeling powerless, like there's nothing I can do. Okay. That's just runaway stress and victimizing yourself. Because when you understand, and this is where I like to go into quantum physics in my crystal classes to help you understand that your inner world is reflected in your outer world. And so that you have control of. You have total control. So if you don't like what you're seeing and you're like, but I feel so hopeless and helpless and powerless, you change you. You change you. Change the way you look at things and the things you look at change. Absolutely my favorite statement from Wayne Dyer. Love that. Change the way you look at things and the things you look at change. I like blue spruce and helichrysum when it comes to powerlessness and hopelessness. And then the hope blend and valor. I mean, valor is strength. Like, hear me roar. We can do this. For crystals, I like any quartz coming out of the Himalayan mountains. Okay, so for those of you, in my crystal cluster, buying from my crystal sales, this would be not only your Himalayan quartz, but your Tibetan quartz, anandalite, and nirvana quartz. So not Arkansas quartz, Himalayan quartz, because the Himalayan mountains has an energy to it. And then the Lemurian quartz. Lemurian quartz are very, very personal. They are the divine feminine, and they want to empower you. So those are my crystals that I go to. And again, where are you feeling hopelessness and powerlessness? Powerlessness really does focus on the stomach, but where are you feeling it? Are you feeling it behind your eyes? Are you feeling it in the back of your neck? I wouldn't be sticking essential oils in your eyeballs, but maybe you can put it on the side, but then lay down, put crystals on your eyes. Just lay down, take a little crystal nap. And again, tell the crystal what you want. My inner world creates my outer world, so I can empower myself from within. All right. It's quantum physics. It's quantum physics. It's not woo-woo. All right. So I know a lot of you have taken my crystal classes. I teach these twice a year. I have classes coming up since I just moved to the Lake Shore of Michigan. I only have one in-person class. So if anybody wants to come and hang out in wonderful Lake Michigan energy, I have space. Otherwise, all the classes are online. I have basic online, advanced online, and animals online. And these are half-day classes. And I also have some other classes coming up. I decided in January I'm going to bring back the Oily Crystal Master class. It's been 3 years since I taught that. I'm going to bring it back. I think it's time. So anyway, I'll send links when I send out the recording to this. So, okay, that's what I have. Does anyone have any questions? Any questions? I'm going through the chat. Going through the chat here. Kathy, there's an oil that you don't have? That surprises me. That surprises me. All right, here. Hold on. I have to. There. If you want to unmute yourself, you can. All right, was this helpful? Did you get some good ideas?
Allie, I've taken all of your energy classes, and this is the best one. You've,
This one tonight?
yes, you've changed it from what it was in the past.
Yeah, because I took a different focus.
Exactly. And I really appreciate that. And I agree with you. You know, you've been saying a lot that are you feeling these energies and that energies? And I'm like, nope, Allie ain't feeling it. I'm good. And the reason is because I've been working with my oils and my crystals.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
what you say is true.
Yeah, it does. It works. It really does. And so, like, if you can share, you're going to get a link to this recording, and you can, if you've got a friend or a sister that's just a hot mess and is open-minded to listen to this, please send this to them because no one should go through this shift feeling so crappy, like physically crappy and emotionally they're a wreck and mentally they can't focus and they're like, I don't want to be here. Like, no, we need to help people just yeah, it can feel rough, but you can thrive during these energies and some people are and some people aren't. So
And
yeah,
I think I know.
good. And that's what happens when you actually work with what you have. So,
Allie, this is Rachel. I do have a question.
yes.
Some of the names of the crystals I didn't understand, and I'm trying to write them down phonetically the best I can remember. Will there be a link as well as some of the things that you suggested? Will there be a printed copy of that, or do I just need to re-listen to the video?
Oh, did you not see the PowerPoint?
No, I didn't.
Oh, did the PowerPoint not show?
It did, but if you don't have Allie's screen selected on the top, there's two options on the top. And if you don't have Allie's screen selected, you don't see the video. We just see your face.
Oh, no wonder.
But
Okay.
when you get the recording, listen to it again and you'll see them.
Oh, terrific. Thank you. Okay.
Yes, so you'll see the PowerPoint and it's got spellings and you can just fast forward to that and yeah, it's all there.
Terrific. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Any questions? Any questions? All right. Yeah, I wanted to take a different approach. I mean, when I teach the other version of this, I go into all the details of what is happening because a lot of people don't know. This is more, okay, you know what's happening. I'll give you like a 5 minute rundown of it, but let's focus on solutions. So that's why this one was different.
Well, I
And
really like it a lot.
good.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I felt, it's interesting. I felt it was needed and yeah, good day. Good day to have this topic to share with all of you. So,
Mhm.
okay. All right, I will get you the recording. And yeah, thank you. I really appreciate y'all being here. And yeah, I'll talk with you later. Hang in there.
Thanks. Okay, bye.
Thank
Bye.
you, Melanie.